Sanibonani emakhaya, siyanamukela to another episode Dlala Mzansi, igama lami Vuyo Macoba. Now with the basketball fever already in full force with the Basketball National League and the NBA, my guest today is someone who has been part of the basketball game for a very, very long time as a player and now turned coach. Now Mothiba, many would remember him in the colors of the Tshwane Suns and the Igoli Magic, which are two successful teams playing in South Africa's Premier Basketball League. Now was also donned the badge of the national team as the longest serving captain and representing South Africa in the African Championships, the Commonwealth Games, and many other tournaments around the globe. Kumbula now, you can also join in this conversation via our social media platforms using the hashtag Dlala Mzansi. You can reach us at a Soweto TV channel. Now, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us on the show today.
No, thank you for having me.
Let's take it back. We're taking it back to Soshanguve now.
Right.
Introduction to the game for you.
I think it was one afternoon. I was coming back from school. I think I was in grade 8. And my brother had already been playing the game of basketball, but I was playing cricket at that time. And then I just decided, we had an off day, so I decided, let me just go check what they do, because the court was about 50 meters from my mama's house. And then when I got there, we started playing, and the coach just said, listen, just come and join us, we need numbers to fill in. So obviously I didn't know anything, and obviously I was a laughing stock at that present moment, but that's when it got me. The very next day, I skipped cricket practice to go and play again. And then eventually I made it work. I've been playing basketball ever since.
But then if you're talking about cricket, meaning basketball wasn't your first love?
Not necessarily. From primary school, I was mainly playing either soccer or cricket. And I was pretty good at cricket, where I was obviously a fast bowler. And I was firstly the opening batsman as well. But then obviously changed as you can see.
I mean, the transition into basketball, I'm guessing, because I've once read an article that I think your parents played in the game as well. They played basketball.
No.
Or was it
my
your brother?
mother played netball.
Oh, your mother played
and
netball.
my brother was the one who was.
So something kind of similar to basketball as well. Yeah. So the transition wasn't the hardest thing for you to get into the basketball game.
No, it wasn't. I've got a very sporty family. We've always been athletic. So, from one sport to the other, I played a bit of hockey. I played a whole lot of soccer. So, I mean, you know how it is. We play everything there is. And yeah, the transition is just a matter of the X's and O's. But eventually, it just fit like a glove.
But it wasn't the easiest one, because if you're talking about being teased, I remember that apparently you were teased because basketball at that time was kind of deemed as a white sport.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at back in the day, in the 93, 94, it was predominantly white people. But then after 94, the transition came along where most, especially in the black communities, they started actually investing in facilities and basketball as a whole. Yes, I was actually teased solely because I played cricket. That was the one thing, which I didn't understand, because I'd been playing cricket for roughly about 5 years in Soshanguve. But yeah, going to a Model C school and having a bit of a twang. So obviously people suggest that, but eventually they warmed up to me, and then the rest is history.
Biggest motivation at the time, your brother, and you're saying obviously when the sports grew. I remember the days even when I was younger, I think Schweppes as a brand had come into it, and basketball was big at the time. What was your biggest motivation, in going into the game of basketball?
I think with basketball, the one thing that grabbed me is the whole culture, the whole hip-hop elements, the whole fashion, and obviously then, you wanted to do something different. Everybody was either playing soccer or hanging out on the streets, wherever. And then, you just had to find a way to, to be special, to be different. And basketball then was, a way to be different. And obviously with my brother playing, I could see through him that, there's a certain kind of swagger that he has when he's at auction. And I decided, this is it. I'm not going to be wearing white long pants and sitting in the sun for 12 hours anymore. But yeah, that was the biggest motivation, to find something. And you could see the brotherhood, in the guys that actually played. They would always rally together. And that's something that actually appealed to me, being part of a sort of a squad, being part of the gang type of thing. And yeah, it really grabbed me in a way that I could actually be good at something without actually having to, because my dad played professional soccer as well. So there was always that thing, I was playing soccer, my brother was playing soccer, and he was playing basketball. And it was, you know what, I don't have to be compared to my dad, you know, because of his soccer escapades, but I could do something for me. And that's how I actually got hooked to it.
You in Soshanguve, the bug bites you, and you join a team. You remember those days?
Yeah.
Competitively though? Or maybe at school, yeah. Maybe at school.
You know what? Then we had a lot of competition, especially at the high school level. And even in Soshanguve, we had about 3 or 4 teams that were really competitive against each other. You know, and you know how you have a block H and a block L and a block VV, and then you have that thing, that sense of pride, which I'm representing, you know, my block type of thing. And it was, and I played, the first team that I played for was called the Soshanguve Suns. And then, you know, that's where I learned everything, that's where I started playing. And then eventually when I got better, obviously I moved out of the team and I went to a team called New Era. That's where everything opened up for me. We started playing teams outside of Soshanguve. We played in Joburg, and that's when my eyes got open to the whole culture of basketball, you know. It's like, wow, there's this whole world that's out there that we're not even seeing. And it brings a sense of accomplishment, you know, when you go out. You know, we would play tournaments in Mamelodi, tournaments in Soweto, and we would come back and actually be victorious, even if we don't win, but you know deep down that you know what, you punched above your weight and you did quite well.
I mean, when I was growing up as well, falling in love with the game of basketball, I had my idols because NBA as well was growing into Africa as well. Who were your idols at the time? If you could name just 3 of your best as a kid.
Top 3, number 1, obviously Michael Jordan. He's the best player to ever play the game. I don't care who says what. And then, you know, as you go along, then you get a guy like Kevin Garnett. You know, he's the type of guy that I always see. I actually molded my game when I got older. You know, when the kind of passion he showed when he played. You know, the way that he would rally his teammates together. And obviously Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley was he's one of those guys who, you know, you just say, listen, let's go get them, and then that's it. And that's how I play now, you know, where the ability to be able to put everybody together and say, listen, gents, I don't have to say much, just nod, and then it's on.
I mean, introduction to the game, you get to play the game at a lower level, but the national team comes in after that. But I want us to talk about that after the break. Hold that thought. Now, considered a wingman, in other words, a guard forward. It meant that he was a player that could play both at the shooting guard and a small forward position, and in essence, switch between the positions. Siyabuya Noneo after the break to open the national team chapter. Hlala kanjalo.